Hello, everyone. Welcome to EA Zoom. Today we have the pleasure of having Tara McGillicuddy, and she's going to discuss how the outer planets' changing signs will reshape our mental, emotional, and spiritual future.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today with you as we discuss this important topic. If you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, I have my website listed here on this first slide. So let's dive right in. Next slide. All right, so the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, profoundly influence our emotional, mental, and spiritual lives. While the personal planets shape us individually, these outer planets affect us on a massive and generational scale. This is because they move so slowly, taking years to transit a single sign and complete an entire cycle around the zodiac, which means groups of souls are born under the same planetary influence of any given astrological sign that these planets happen to be in. Though the outer planets uh, reside in different houses for each person, which affects the specific area of life the energy will manifest, their energy is still expressed collectively through the sign in which they fall, creating shared unconscious patterns across a generation. This collective energy manifests through our subtle energy bodies, which determine the flow of energy within both the visible and invisible aspects of the human energy field. For optimal well being, these subtle bodies must remain balanced to allow energy to flow freely. The outer planets influence these energies in distinct ways and are directly connected to our mental, emotional, and spiritual energy bodies. Pluto governs our unconscious emotional security. Neptune influences our unconscious spiritual and psychic connections, and Uranus shapes our unconscious mental processes. When these outer planets shift signs, they trigger profound changes for us all, as reflected in our subtle energy bodies. So, in this discussion, we'll explore the impact of the recent and upcoming transits. With Pluto's move into Aquarius in November of last year, Neptune's shift into Aries on March 30th, and Uranus's transition into Gemini on July 7th. The close timing of these shifts will trigger powerful transformations that will reshape our future both individually and collectively. This is because the outer planets hold the keys to unlocking our deepest soul identity, offering insights into why we're here and what lessons we're meant to learn. By studying the symbolic meanings of these planets through astrology, we uncover the larger framework of life as we find the observable patterns, evolution, cycles, and growth governed by the natural laws of change. This process involves our past, present, and future, which are all intricately connected. To understand the future impacts of these outer planet shifts, we must look to the past. By examining the last time these planets occupied the same signs, we gain insight into what lies ahead, both for humanity as a whole and for all of us as individuals. Understanding the collective evolutionary history of humanity allows us to grasp the choices we face today and how these choices will shape our future. Through this lens, we can see the past has conditioned the present and why we're here and making the choices we are today. Next slide. We will begin by focusing on Pluto's recent move into Aquarius. Pluto, the planetary symbol representing evolution on both a collective and individual level, is really the prime mover in our spiritual and emotional journey. As the first cause and the deepest force of change, Pluto shapes the patterns that drive our behavior, both consciously and unconsciously. Pluto's final transition into Aquarius, which took place in November of last year, impacts us all, particularly in how it connects with our emotional energy body. Pluto governs our unconscious emotional security patterns. those deeply ingrained behaviors we rely on to feel safe and grounded. These patterns are carried over from past lives, and they reveal themselves through Pluto's placement in our natal chart, showing us the unconscious forces that shape our responses and choices in life. In fact, approximately 75 to 80% of our behavior is influenced by past unconscious associations, which we may not be aware of in the present moment. Our soul's journey is a continuous process of evolution, which with each lifetime building on the last. Our unconscious desires and identity associations are tied to past experiences, and they shape the limitations we face in life. These ingrained patterns can create blocks in our personal growth, causing us to rely on familiar and outdated behaviors of emotional security. So, as the ruler of Scorpio and the eighth house, Pluto penetrates our emotional and psychological depths like no other planet. It really uncovers our deepest fears, desires, and unresolved issues, often remaining unconscious until we consciously bring them into our awareness. Pluto reveals the areas of our lives where the greatest challenges and the greatest opportunities for growth lie. It shows us how we interact with power, authority, death, and personal evolution, illuminating the areas in need of transformation. Pluto's influence is a catalyst for profound change. By helping us identify the outdated patterns, it clears the way for more authentic expressions of our true selves. So ultimately, Pluto's power drives us to uncover the blueprint of our soul, guiding us on a journey of self-discovery and both a personal and collective level. Through its energy, we gain a better understanding of why we're here and where we're meant to go. Um, Pluto's influence can also be framed through the concept of karma. Karma is neither good or bad, it's simply the natural consequence of past actions. So, Pluto reflects both our individual and collective karmic states, offering us an opportunity to break free from old patterns and evolve into our highest potential. Pluto has a 248-year orbit, meaning it takes this planet almost 250 years to complete its journey around the zodiac. During this time, Pluto spends around 12 to 32 years in each astrological sign. And this period of time is very significant. As Pluto transits each sign, it destroys outdated structures, clearing the way for future growth. Through destruction, life is reborn. Through endings, new beginnings can emerge. Pluto's transition through Aquarius, which officially began in November of last year and will last until March of 2043, marks an important collective shift. To understand its implications, we can look to the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, from the year 1778 to 1798, a period marked by global revolutions, including the French, American, and Industrial Revolutions. It also is the time in which the government of the United States was established with the signing of the American Constitution. It's no coincidence that the word revolution surfaces when discussing this time, as Aquarius embodies the archetype of the revolutionary. Revolution, by definition, is the forcible overthrow of an existing system in favor of a new one. Pluto's transit through Aquarius will inevitably trigger a revolution of both individual and collective transformation. Aquarius, this transformation is not always comfortable. Pluto's energy is one of death, decay, destruction, and ultimately rebirth. In Aquarius, the sign of rebellion and individuation, this manifests as a powerful drive to break free from outdated systems of self-definition imposed by society, parents, and cultural influences. Pluto in Aquarius urges us to shed old skins and reject arbitrary definitions of who we are. Revolution arises when we resist external forces that attempt to limit or define us. As Pluto transits Aquarius, we may face emotional trauma and experiences that really challenge our sense of identity and security. Our lifestyle might suddenly feel misaligned with our true nature, or we may be swept up in catastrophic events that are beyond our control. We could find ourselves manipulated by those we trusted or ostracized by society for our unconventional beliefs. But it is in these moments of struggle that we learn to embrace our differences. Aquarius prompts us to embrace our differences because it's all about individuation and accepting our raw, essential nature. So through contrast, we recognize our uniqueness and begin to form bonds with others who share our values and visions. This collective shift will give rise to subgroups within society, groups built not on conformity, but on mutual acceptance of individual differences. It is through the coming together of like-minded individuals that true change will occur. Pluto in Aquarius calls us to step into our power, break free from the past, and forge a new path forward together. Next slide. So again, by understanding the past, we gain insight into the present, which allows us to make informed choices for the future. When Pluto was last in Aquarius in the 1700s, we witnessed global upheaval and a surge of revolutionary energy, including the American, French, and Industrial Revolutions, as I previously mentioned. These movements were fueled by the spread of Enlightenment ideas, emphasizing individual rights, social equality, and the idea of the social contract. This ideology challenged existing power structures and led to political and economic reforms, driven largely by a growing middle class and grievances like unfair taxation and social inequality. The American Revolution ignited the French Revolution by showing the possibility of successful rebellion against monarchy. At the same time, the Industrial Revolution, driven by technological advancements, is also an Aquarian trait, reshaped society and production methods. In this period, old systems were overthrown, paving the way for new ways of thinking and organizing society. The desire for liberty and self-governance arose, coupled with growing resentment of those in power. New technologies like the steam engine revolutionized mass production, while agricultural innovations boosted food production. However, revolution also brought political instability, violence, and radical social demands. Economic struggles were widespread, with both the American and French people fighting against discriminatory taxation systems. France was deeply burdened by their involvement in the American Revolution and the extravagant spending of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. So France basically teetered on the brink of total collapse. Both the Americans and the French were rebelling against royal authority. American colonists against King George III and the French against King Louis XVI. Both sought a fairer, more egalitarian society, rejecting the privileges granted by the elites and aristocrats. At its core, the Aquarian archetype embodies humanitarianism and the pursuit of equality. Aquarius cannot thrive in caste systems. Its focus is on equal rights for all. So abuses of power are deeply triggering in this energy, which calls for a total shift in social dynamics. Fast forward 248 years, and Pluto has returned to the sign of Aquarius, heralding another potential period of extreme global transformation. As we look to the past, we can anticipate what revolution may unfold over the next 19 years. What societal change will emerge that future generations will recognize as a pivotal moment in history? What will be the legacy of Pluto's time in Aquarius? The question for us all right now is, are we ready to embrace a new way and leave behind outdated systems that no longer serve humanity's growth? This transformation is inescapable, and we must stand up for change. Embracing our differences, confronting unconscious emotional patterns of security, and stepping out of our comfort zones is necessary to accomplish the great task before us. Pluto in Aquarius will demand an emotional shift, both individually and collectively. And it's only by recognizing and breaking free from old patterns of emotional security, both individually and collectively, that we can create lasting change and reshape a better future for all of humanity. Next slide. So next we'll examine Neptune's move into Aries on March 30th and its connection to our spiritual energy body. Neptune correlates with the transcendent impulse of the soul, the urge to dissolve barriers within our consciousness and connect directly to the source or God. Transcendence means surpassing the confines of time and space. And Neptune symbolizes our understanding of life's spiritual purpose. As the ruler of Pisces and the 12th house, Neptune represents the culmination of a long cycle of evolution, urging us to spiritually develop by merging our individual egos with the creator. An analogy for this process is the wave and the ocean. Neptune teaches us that, like the wave, we are not separate from the ocean, the source, or God. Very few people have their consciousness centered in the ocean itself, as the center of consciousness for most people is the wave upon the ocean. But the key here is to realize that the wave cannot exist without the ocean. The ocean created the wave. And similarly, our individual identity must merge with the cosmic ocean, as the soul must unite with its creator. This shift in consciousness dissolves our egocentricity, our egocentric identity, and reveals the deeper spiritual truth that exists within us all, that we are not separate from God, and God exists within all of us. Neptune's connection to ego dissolution also magnifies the prevalence of dreams, illusions, and delusions. The idea of losing oneself in the abyss highlights Neptune's association with the infinite and timeless laws of the universe. While Neptune shows us our potential for spiritual growth, it also reveals where we're prone to delusions and illusions. Those illusions created by the soul's desire to find ultimate meaning in life. These illusions manifest when we look outward for answers, hoping that external experiences or people will provide the meaning we seek. Yet Neptune's ultimate lesson is that true meaning cannot be found outside ourselves. Our illusions will eventually reveal themselves as nothing but dreams, temporary and ultimately unsatisfying. As we chase these dreams, we may experience disillusionment as our desires fall short of our expectations. This process teaches us that ultimate meaning can only be realized through direct, conscious connection with the divine. The evolutionary purpose of Neptune is to help us recognize and purge the illusions and delusions we've created, thus facilitating our direct merging with God. As we dissolve old patterns and identify less with our ego and more with our soul, we come to understand our true identity as reflected by the Creator. This process of spiritual awakening allows for divine illumination and inspiration, revealing our soul's true spiritual essence. Divine inspiration and the collective need for transcendence are revealed not only through Neptune's position in the natal chart, but also through the sign in which Neptune is currently transiting. In addition to our natal Neptune, Neptune's current position gives us an idea of how we are individually and collectively evolving our spiritual energy body. The sign Neptune occupies, both currently and in our natal charts, reflects these energies. And we all experience them intensely when Neptune shifts signs. Neptune follows a 165-year cycle around the zodiac, spending around 14 years in each sign. It has been transiting Pisces since 2011, and it will move into the sign of Aries on March 30th. In Pisces, Neptune has been at home. It's felt comfortable. During this transit, it's felt so comfortable, which has manifested in both positive and negative ways. This is because Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces. So we've all been touched by this energy, and the house where Pisces falls in your chart will show you where it has had the most impact in your life. But collectively, we've all experienced a culmination of all astrological archetypes through this transit, which has resulted in widespread disillusionment and trauma. Throughout this period, we've seen idealistic expectations around self potential, sharing, logic, love, creativity, relationships, fears, worldviews, family, and equality. As Neptune moves into Aries, the focus will shift away from collective ideals to a more individualistic pursuit of self-realization. To understand the potential impact of Neptune in Aries, let's reflect on history. Next slide. The last time Neptune was in Aries was in 1861, a period marked by intense societal upheaval and a desire for transformative change. It coincided with the American Civil War, an era of profound idealism, societal tension, and social reform. This period saw the rise of abolitionist movements and a push for new values, much like the pioneering energy of Aries. Neptune in Aries signifies a deep longing for a better future and a strong belief in possibilities, energies that drove both sides of the conflict. With Neptune in Aries again, we can expect an awakening of idealistic expectations about self potential, where many will feel driven to achieve something special. Yet this awareness will often feel overshadowed by a larger force, be it the universe or God, which creates a sense that these expectations are unattainable. This disillusionment may lead to confusion and trauma within ourselves, and a corresponding disillusionment with the universe at large. One way to understand this energy is to think of Neptune's watery, ethereal, dissolving nature blending with Aries' fiery, passionate, and action-oriented energy. When water and fire combine, they create steam, a powerful force that awakens us and purifies and removes impurities. So, as Neptune enters Aries, we will see an increase in spiritual awakenings worldwide. People will feel this steamy energy on an instinctive level and know that something greater is unfolding. This marks the beginning of a collective awakening, as we all may feel we have a special destiny to fulfill on a very instinctual basis. To understand Aries energy more deeply, we must explore its essence. Aries represents our instinct to become, urging us toward independence and freedom. This drive leads us to initiate and fulfill our desires, as experience is the key to self-discovery in Aries. Aries compels us to seek freedom and independence, to follow experiences that unfold before us, and through them to uncover who we truly are on an individual level. In this sense, Aries is future oriented, always seeking what's next, what's new, and what's unknown. It pushes us to discover unique aspects about ourselves through action, experience, and bold pursuit. This drive creates an internal pressure to always be evolving, seeking more. Um, it really drives us to act, to not be still, but continue on our process of becoming more than what we are in this present moment. This drive creates this internal pressure because we're always seeking more. And in this process, we must claim our right to be free and answer the inner call, the inner callings that are driving us to act. With Neptune's move into Aries, we're likely to see a deep urge to dissolve the boundaries separating us from a greater connection to the Creator, to God. This requires the ego to surrender, as we discussed earlier. But Aries is rooted in the ego's sense of a special purpose. How then does Neptune dissolve the ego through Aries energy? The answer may lie in the fact that many of us chase one dream after another, thinking each one will bring us the meaning we've been seeking. Yet the true path of self-discovery requires us to dissolve the ego, aligning with the Creator's will, not just our own will. So only then can God express through our unique individuality. As Neptune shifts into Aries, it will reorient our personal destinies toward a higher divine purpose. We will all awaken to spiritual truths that reframe our individual quests, not as selfish pursuits, but as part of a greater collective dream. At some point, however, we'll come to realize that even the most sensational dreams are, in essence, just that, dreams. Some will fulfill their dreams while others won't. Some may never see their Neptunian dreams realized at all during this time. But when dreams do manifest, they may hold significant meaning for a time. Eventually, though, that meaning will fade. Many will eventually understand that they have the power within themselves to create and destroy their own realities. In this realization, we become co-creators of our destinies. However, as long as our dreams remain disconnected from the Creator or God, they will ultimately feel empty and meaningless at the end of the day. So, true fulfillment during this time comes only when our individual dreams align with the divine, allowing us to find lasting purpose and meaning. Now is the time to pursue dreams that matter, not only to ourselves, but to the world and humanity at large. It's time to act in a way that serves others, not just our own desires. To understand this, we can look to the last time Neptune entered Aries on April 13th, 1861, the day after the American Civil War began. This shift ignited a period of profound cultural and historical change that reshaped life as we know it. The war was fueled by the uncompromising conflict between free and slave states, marked by a struggle for freedom and a new beginning, driven by Aries energy. It was a time of bold leadership and a fight for new national identities. The Civil War began over the question of slavery and the power of the national government to prohibit it in unincorporated territories. When Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, was elected in 1860 with a platform to prevent slavery from spreading into these territories, 7 southern states seceded and formed the Confederacy. The northern states, led by Lincoln's administration, refused to recognize the legitimacy of the secession, fearing it would fragment the Union into squabbling nations. The event that triggered the war occurred at Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor on April 12th, 1861, just one day before Neptune entered Aries. This timing was no coincidence. For 4 long years, the war raged on. By the spring of 1864, the Confederate armies surrendered and the nation began the painful process of rebuilding a nation free from slavery. As Neptune re-enters Aries today, we must reflect on this pivotal moment in history. I won't focus on the political implications of this transit, as they are for each of us to consider on our own, but it is important to recognize that this energy can deeply affect freedom, new beginnings, and the fight for something greater than our individual selves. It challenges us to connect with the divine within and align our dreams with something beyond narcissistic pursuits, beyond illusion. War arises when a divide between groups is so vast that one is willing to die for a cause. That cause gives life meaning, a cause greater than the self, one worth living and dying for. This is the energy of Neptune and Aries and asks all of us what cause we're willing to fight for. Next slide. Okay, moving on to Uranus and Gemini. On July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini, marking a pivotal shift of the mind. This transition affects our mental energy body, linking our individuated unconscious, symbolized by Uranus, with the conscious logical mind, symbolized by Gemini. This alignment triggers a recalibration of both our left and right brain faculties, highlighting the importance of balancing our mental energy body. Uranus is the planet of individuation, urging us to reconnect with our essential nature. As the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus seeks liberation from past conditioning, creating a drive to sever all attachments that hinder growth. This impulse to break free fosters a rebellion against societal norms and expectations, cultivating an awareness of our uniqueness. In turn, this awareness fuels the desire to liberate ourselves from outdated patterns that suppress our individuality. Uranus demands detachment from the known, propelling us forward into uncharted territory. To achieve liberation from past conditioning, we must first see ourselves at our most basic, untainted form. Only then can our consciousness transform, unlocking our genius potential, which is also an attribute symbolized by Uranus. Uranus governs our individuated unconscious, which holds three key types of information, which includes all of our memories from this and past lives. It's all of our memories combined. Also, all repressed and suppressed memories, including memories associated with trauma, mental trauma. And it also holds a blueprint of what we can become in the future, all future possibilities free from conditioning. It correlates with traumatic memories that, if left unexamined, do continue to shape our present behavior. But through confronting and liberating ourselves from these past traumas, that true transformation can occur. Next, on a mental level. Sorry, not next slide. Okay. Uranus has an 84-year cycle around the zodiac, spending approximately 7 to 8 years in each sign. Since 2018, it's been transiting the sign of Taurus, urging us to reevaluate and transform our value systems. Over this time, many of us have had to let go of long-held beliefs and attachments that once defined our identity and sense of reality. For some, this has involved significant material loss, perhaps even the loss of cherished things and the loss of cherished people. Such pain and trauma have forced us to realign or at least adjust our value systems, allowing us to relate to ourselves and others in a new way. If we've carried subconscious memories of emotional or physical trauma, we may have had to confront these old wounds, particularly as we've struggled to hold on to what we had. This process has demanded that we release the rigidity of outdated values and return to our essential nature. To do this, we must first ground ourselves in our inner truth, stepping back from external distractions to rebuild our inner relationship with ourselves. As Uranus moves into Gemini, the process will shift this process will shift focus from our material values and inner worlds to a much more intellectual realm where ideas, opinions, mental constructs take center stage. Gemini energy is driven by the mind. It compels us to gather information and facts from our external environment in order to better understand ourselves and the world around us. While Uranus in Taurus prompted introspection and somewhat of periods of withdrawal from our environment, Gemini energy will push us outward into the environment and urging us to collect a wide range of experiences and collect data to stimulate intellectual growth. Gemini's emphasis is on facts and information, not necessarily metaphysical or deeper truths. The data we gather will be filtered through our own mental lens, shaped by our attitudes, biases, and preconceptions. There's a risk that we might exclude or ignore certain facts that challenge our inner sense of security or contradict our established worldviews. With Uranus and Gemini, we can expect our worldviews to be radically altered on both a personal and collective level. How we communicate will also come into sharper focus, revealing the outdated patterns in our thought processes and mental habits. So, with Uranus and Gemini, we will see a unique interplay between rational left brain thinking and Uranus's more spontaneous, intuitive approach to data collection. Gemini represents our logical, empirical mind, while Uranus seeks to uncover deeper, unconscious truths that exist beyond reason. This resulting synergy between these two energies will compel us to communicate what we've learned with others, both about ourselves and about others and the world at large, through the lens of our evolving intellect. Yet, we may also be confronted with the limitations of our opinions and biases, challenging us to break free from intellectual confines in order to make sense of the world in more expansive and rational ways. Next slide. To fully grasp the implications of Uranus and Gemini, let's look back in time. The rebel planet, Uranus, was last in the sign of Gemini from 1941 to 1949 during World War II and its aftermath. This was a period of monumental change and upheaval, reshaping global society, power dynamics, and alliances. As the planet of revolution, freedom, and radical transformation, Uranus's transit through Gemini sparked a profound period of mental reinvention. The most significant events of the era were deeply tied to the war and the dawning of atomic power. While World War II, one of the deadliest conflicts in history, caused widespread destruction across Europe and Asia, leading to the emergence of the United States as a superpower. This shift in global power triggered the Cold War between the US and Soviet Union. It redrew political borders and radically altered international relations. The war's devastating toll left a lasting mark on social and economic structures worldwide. Uranus, seeking liberation from outdated norms, often drives such change by shattering old paradigms. During its last transit through Gemini, this energy manifested through external upheaval, challenging the cultural and societal conditioning at the time. The war's aftermath also saw the rise of technological advancements, most notably the development of nuclear weapons, which forever changed global security and international relations. Key, uh, Key historical moments from this period include the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the groundbreaking work of the Manhattan Project. July 16th, 1945 marked the beginning of the atomic age with the Trinity test, the first atomic bomb detonation in New Mexico. Interestingly enough, uranium, the key element used to trigger the nuclear reaction, was named after the planet Uranus, after it was discovered by a German chemist in 1789, just 8 years after the planet Uranus was discovered. This connection between the element uranium and the planet Uranus further emphasizes the metaphorical and actual impact Uranus had on this transformative era, one in which we saw massive destruction, loss of life, the redrawing of European borders and the European map, the emergence of the US as a superpower, the Cold War, decolonization, economic impacts, social change, such as changes in family structures and an increase in female workforce participation. And last but certainly not least, the profound technological advancements and the development of nuclear weapons. So, what can we learn from these historical shifts as Uranus transits Gemini again? Clearly, profound global changes are ahead. The energy of Uranus and Gemini influences humanity on a massive scale, pushing us toward dramatic reinvention. The world changed after World War II, and the history books are filled with the stories of that time. What events will define our era as we face the same energy that shaped the mid 20th century? What will future generations be taught about the world we are about to live through in the next 8 years? As Uranus transits Gemini, we can expect also many exciting and groundbreaking innovations and technological advancements, particularly in the realm of air travel and energy. Our mental faculties are emphasized during this transit, as both Gemini and Aquarius are air signs. With Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, entering Gemini, the surge of air energy is bound to spark intellectual and technological breakthroughs like we've never seen before. One clear example of this is Boom Supersonic, a company pioneering a revolution in air travel. Their Overture, a supersonic airliner, flies twice as fast as a commercial plane while running on sustainable aviation fuel. After their first successful test flight that broke the sound barrier in January of this year, airlines like American and United have already ordered several Overtures with plans to carry passengers by 2029. This is right in the heart of Uranus's transit through Gemini, marking a new era in global travel and global connectivity. Imagine flying from Shanghai to Los Angeles in just 5 hours, all at an affordable and eco-friendly cost. It may seem like a dream come true, but this is the kind of genius energy that Uranus and Gemini is set to unlock. This is only one example of the air-driven innovations to come over the next 8 years. Another example is the diamond battery, a sustainable technology that uses nuclear waste to generate electricity. Constructed from carbon and radioactive isotope embedded in a diamond-like carbon, this battery could power devices for thousands of years, basically endless powering. Beyond its environmental benefits, the battery could be used in spacecraft, offering a reliable and long-term power source for space exploration. This repurposing of nuclear waste could revolutionize space travel and open up possibilities that were previously unthinkable, expanding our connection to the universe in ways that change us forever. These innovations highlight Uranus's potential to reshape our world as it transits through Gemini, ushering in a new age of travel and energy production that will change our lives. At the same time, AI will begin to pick up and impact our culture in ways we've only begun to imagine. As AI technology skyrockets, which it will during Uranus's time in Gemini, we must hold tight to what makes us human. While AI can enhance our development, it could also threaten our humanity if we detach from our emotional, social, and human connections. The challenge will be to harness AI's potential without losing sight of our core values. AI is a collective force of minds, which can be immensely powerful if used responsibly, but extremely dangerous if misused. So, as I wrap up this presentation, let's reflect on the idea of history repeating itself. We must ask ourselves, what patterns are likely to repeat, and how can we prevent undesirable outcomes? With the outer planet shifting signs, a massive world shift is inevitable. The world is on the brink of changes like we've never seen before, and how we respond to these changes will shape our future. We are all evolving as a species with the power to make choices that will redefine our path, both individually and collectively. The question now is, who do we want to become? Our response will determine the human experience for generations to come. The time to act is now, to respond in ways that liberate, heal, and help all people grow moving forward into the future. So that concludes the presentation today. I really hope you all found it informative and can leave here feeling empowered as we all move forward into this exciting and uncharted territory that exists as these planets shift signs. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. That was excellent.
It was
So,
awesome. It was awesome. I love that you brought in some new technology that I didn't know about,
yeah,
the boom aircraft and the Dyson
yes,
batteries. Man, that just, I
it's
mean,
all very exciting.
it is.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
yes.
This was
So happy to be here.
it was awesome, and we look forward to having you come back and present for us again.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Let's see.